Peace and blessings, sisters. We're back. We're getting ready to hop into this series of videos that are called Money Matters. Now, Money Matters, as I explained in the previous video, but in case you were not able to see that one, basically my Welcome Back 2021 video. I'm going to be covering in this Money Matters series a bunch of tips and tricks for you guys that will help you to get your finances in optimal shape. Now, with the pandemic, with everything that's been happening in 2020, with people's jobs going belly up, with their health going belly up, with the economy, tanking pretty much, with the US being in debt, with the stimulus checks not coming. It's a lot going on about money. And so around that and around the times of difficulty that I had in 2020, it made me think a lot in the new year about what things I wanted to bring to you guys and which ways I thought that I might be able to help you here in 2021 be able to make sure that your finances are in optimal shape. So in this video, we are going to talk about 6 tips. Now, 3 of these are kind of ones that you probably heard of, and 3 of these are probably ones that you have not heard of. I'm going to cover the ones that you have probably heard of first, and then we're going to hop into the 3 that are not so common anymore, okay? Because there's some things that our ancestors did that were tried and true. And the reason why they were able to build the communities and able to build what it was that they wanted in a time where money was way less available than it is now, where resources were way less available than they are now, where they had family ties, but they were coming out of a place of oppression. And for those of us who are African American in this group, we're coming out of a time of slavery, okay, coming out of a time of the civil rights movement. They were still able to accomplish. I myself have a family member, have an uncle, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to hop into the tips. I have an uncle who built a church off of $500, okay? And back then, $500 was a lot. It was probably more like the equivalent of maybe like, if I had to guess, more like $5,000, right? Before inflation. So he built a church off of $500. He mortgaged his house, okay? He put a mortgage against his house. He had $500 cash, and then he borrowed money from a friend down the road in order for him to be able to build it. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because they were determined, no matter what, to not only put their time, their money, and their energy into what it was that they wanted to accomplish, but B, they were also determined to not let money stand in their way. And although we think now in this moment of the pandemic that there is nothing that we can do to make sure our finances do not go belly up if the government does not help us, I'm here to tell you that there is in fact ways. And so in this series that I'm getting ready to bring you, we're going to talk about money topics. We're going to talk about money matters. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty of ways that you yourself can make sure as the woman of the family that you never ever, ever, ever are in a position where you have nothing to be able to live for the next days that are coming. Okay, so tip number 1, ladies, is to buy bulk. Now, as I said, this is something that you guys probably already heard of, but not many people practice it. So they have, of course, Costco's, and they have, of course, BJ's, where I am. But there are also places that everybody has access to as far as in the U.S., Walmart, right? So nobody really pays attention to Walmart. But if you go into Walmart, Walmart has, and most Walmarts, specifically those that are super Walmarts, super centers, they have whole aisles, right, where you can buy bulk. Now, the reason why I'm bringing Walmart up instead of Costco's or BJ's is that Costco's and BJ's and Sam's Club requires you to have a membership. And if you don't want to spend the money, because we're talking about ways to save, you can go to Walmart and get exactly what it is that you need without having to worry about the extra expense of having a membership. Okay, so back to what I was saying. In Walmart, there are aisles of bulk and of mega purchases, right? And sometimes throughout certain aisles, for example, cereal or like household cleaners, you will find the row that has regular soap. So for example, Dawn is what I use. So you'll find the row that has Dawn and Palmolive and whatever other ones that they use. And then underneath that, you'll find the bulk. me personally, I always buy the bulk. And I buy the bulk for two reasons. A, it lasts longer. And B, when you do the math of how long you can make that bulk item stretch, you end up buying way less during the course of the month. So where I would normally buy 2 or 3 of the small Dawn bottles of detergent, or I might buy, and I only use like Bounty paper towels, right? So if I buy Bounty paper towels, then where I would normally spend, say, $8 or $9 for a pack of regular Bounty, I might spend 12 or 13 for a bulk, but in that 12 or 13, I'm getting 2 times the amount of value for less than 2 times the amount of money that I would spend. So buying bulk allows you to get more quantity of an item, for you to be able to disperse it across the course of the month, and for you to be able to use out of what you have of those resources and kind of make a plan. Okay, which goes into my second tip of B, make a list. If you have to go in person and you're shopping in person in different stores and getting what you need, make a list before you go. Now, the reason why making a list is so important is for two things. The first thing is, and that's most obvious, is when you make a list, it allows you to remember what it is that you need, right? So you go in, and I have my whole grocery list of what I need, and I'm going through the aisles and I'm picking up what I need. What that does, though, is when you come back home, or even prior to going, if you're a planner like I am, prior to going, you're going to go to the store. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to spend about, say, $150 on all of my household needs and on my groceries. If you're going and you're buying bulk, including for your meats and included for your, vegetables and whatever else that you may need, if you go and you buy bulk of those things, then it saves you from having to worry about purchasing it again that month, which means that your list now works as an item, not only not a guide, not only for what it is that you're buying at the store, but for when you get home, what you can go back and you could check on, right? To make sure that you're not rebuying what it is that you need, and before you leave, that list also serves as a cross reference, so that I don't go and I don't buy a whole bunch. Because I can't tell you how many times when I first started running my own home, I used to go to the store and I had 5 boxes of elbow macaroni, but I forgot that I had 5 boxes, and I went and I bought 2 more to make sure that I never ran out. And in fact, I had plenty there. So now we're getting out of the place of hoarding, and we're getting out of the place of having too much of stuff, right? Because we really need to be trying to live lives of minimalism, where we're not over cluttered and over bogged down with items. So now it prevents me from going to the store. Having this practice prevents me from going to the store and buying a whole bunch of things that I don't need and that I'm not going to be able to fit into my cabinets anyway. If I buy it and it has to sit in my living room for 3 or 4 days, it allows me to be able to do that without a problem. And the second reason why you want to make a list and utilize that when you're buying bulk is that it allows you to budget, right? So budgeting is something that we kind of get away from. I know that a lot of people do. A lot of people go and they purchase what they want and don't really think about what the cost is, or might not. And maybe in this time of the pandemic, people are becoming more aware of their spending habits. But a lot of people, specifically that I know, like in my circle, will go to the store and they'll buy what it is that they want and they'll buy what it is that they need. And then they'll come back and be like, darn, I shouldn't have bought that, whatever it was. And because they didn't make that list and cross-reference and make sure that they were sticking to their budget that they created for the month, they aren't really paying attention to how much they're spending, right? And so that kind of puts me into what is my third thing of buying online. Now, the reason why I say buy online and not in store, obviously, yes, you have the lines because of the pandemic. You have the issues of crowding and not wanting to be in a space that's close together and social distancing and all this kind of stuff that they're putting into the universe. But the real reason why I say buy online is when you go online, I know you guys, okay, so let me say this first and I'll hop back onto that. I know you guys have experienced when you go into Walmart and you go in there for a pack of paper towels and for Dawn, and you come out of Walmart with 10 bags, right? And you're like, how the hell, excuse my French, how the hell did I just spend $150 in Walmart when I came here to only spend $20? That's because as you're walking through the aisles, which I must say, they so geniusly place the aisles around the store so that you're walking through areas, you're passing through areas, going to get what you need, that they know you're going to pick out one or two items for, right? Um, so anyway, so you go through the aisles and you pick up all this random stuff that you need or that you remembered, and that's not on your list, by the way. It's not on your list. And so you go through the aisles and you pick up stuff and you get up to the front counter. Instead of leaving with two things that you went there for, you leave with 10 bags. Now, what does this do? This allows you to spend above and beyond your budget. But if you buy online, sis, what's going to happen is you're going to go onto a website. You're going to think, oh, that's right. Let me purchase that Bounty and that Dawn that I need. You go into Walmart.com. You purchase from Walmart.com. Yes, you may end up paying for shipping if you decide to have it shipped opposed to going to do it for the pickup, which is another very convenient thing that I would suggest all of you guys use. If you don't have to deal with with the lines inside the store. Man, I'm tongue tied today. So if you don't want to deal with the lines inside the store, I would suggest that you use that. But nonetheless, so now when you're online, you go on, you order your Bounty, you order your Dawn. The only two things that you needed are the only two things that you buy. And so now you only spend the two things in your budget that you intended on spending, rather than going to the store and leaving with 10 bags and you should only left with two items. So that is my tip number 3, right? Tip number 4, and this may be one that that's not so, no, it's not a maybe. It is. It's something that is not practiced anymore, and it's a danger in it. Tip number 4 is buy items with cash when you're in person opposed to your checking card. Now, why do I say this? I say this because cash allows you, for example, I have a budget of $500 a month that I want to purchase all my items out of. If I have a budget of $500 a month, I might say $50 goes to my pocket for whatever it is that I want, and I allow myself $150 for items for the house, for example, right? So, and $500 is a lot, but we'll get into the whole idea of budgeting later in the month. But this is just for example purposes. So, $500, and I give myself $150 that I'm going to spend. If I go and I pay with cash, what paying with cash allows me to do is to open up my wallet and to realize, okay, I left the house with 150 and I'm coming back with $40 less, right? And so it's a mental check for me. Oh man, I have $40 left. That means I only have 110. Oh man, maybe I need to slow down my spending a little bit throughout the week so that this $150 that I have is specifically used for what it is that I need, and it stretches me the whole way, opposed to buying with your card, which allows you to swipe without thinking about it. Because a lot of people don't think, which is the whole reason why banks make millions and millions. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm conscious of how much I spend. I budget. I make sure that I don't spend above my amount. No, sis, I'm guaranteeing you that you don't. Because how many times have you doubled for overdraft protection fee or something like that your bank applied to your statement and then called them to try to get it off later on? That's how I know that people are not thinking that they're as aware of their money as they are. I can't tell you how many sisters come to me and they talk about this in our different group sessions and different red tent meetings. We talk about budgeting. And this is something that we're getting out of the practice of, right? As far as like the credit cards. So with credit cards, you go in, you swipe what it is that you need. You say, oh man, let me turn on that overdraft protection, which allows your bank to pay that amount for you. And then maybe they pull it from your savings if you have it set up. And if not, then they just say, okay, well, we're going to charge you this $35 for this item. Swiping that card allows you to spend way more above your budget than you probably would be realizing that you spend. But if you have the cash in hand, and if you have the cash in a wallet inside in the envelope inside your wallet, then it allows you to be able to plan way more accurately what it is that you're spending. And it allows you to visually see, okay, I had 150 when I left the house. I came back home with 110. That means I spent $40 and I need to slow down my spending so that I don't go above and beyond my $150 balance for the end of the week, right? It's giving you that mental visual check-in each and every day. As you see the money dwindle down in your wallet, you're saying, okay, I had this amount, I had that amount, I'm able to plan this, I'm not able to do that. And being okay with saying no to some of the things that we want to do, right? Because if it's not a necessity, and specifically in this time of mental stress and strain all over the globe, it's not just the US that's going through it. This is everybody. This whole entire world is being affected by this whole pandemic situation, right? So having that money in our wallets allows us to see that our money is leaving our pockets and to say to ourselves, I need to check in with myself. And when I get home, I need to make sure that I'm going to have enough money to spend me throughout the whole entire week to pay for my car, the gas for my car, to pay for whatever it is that the children may need, to pay for, whatever items I want to buy myself, right? Okay. So tip number 5 is to save a set denomination of money. So this only works if you're spending with cash. And the reason why I'm bringing these to you, because these are things that I have put to the test and they have worked for me, and I'm able to tell you about them. So, put yourself or make up in your mind a amount of money that you will like to spend every time you get it back. So, for example, I pay the cashier with a $20 bill. And I say to myself, every time, for me personally, every time I get a 1 or a 5 denomination, I save it. I don't spend it, right? And I make that mental statement to myself, and I make that mental goal that every time I get a 1 or a 5, I save it. If I go to the cashier and I pay her with a 20 and my item comes up to $4, I leave out of the store with $16 change. Now, out of that 16, 6 of it is being saved and 10 of it is being spent. Now, to some people, they might be like, damn, I don't got that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? I need all my money right now. But you will be surprised, once again, how much we spend money on things that we don't ultimately need. Even if you do need it, the task and the mental recollection of saving your money as you spend it is something that is a good habit to get into. So, for example, I'm going to show you guys actually what I do. I have this journal. By the way, it's from my daddy. Has his writing in the front. I don't know if you guys can see. I think you can see that. So this is a journal that I found of his. And this is what inspired me, or allowed me, not inspired me, because I was doing this prior to him transitioning, but it allowed me to keep it all together in this one book, which the Red 10 is getting ready to be carrying some of these so I can help sisters really put this thing forward. So inside my wallet, I have one envelope, and it's just an old envelope from the bank that I went to, and I got money out, right? So in the back of here, there's a pocket. And I love this book. And the reason why I have this book and I'm going to start carrying these for women in the Red Tent is so that, I can get this example. So I have this envelope and it has a pocket in this journal. In this one envelope is all of my receipts, right? In this envelope is where I keep all of my 1s and my 5s. Now, this is a completely different envelope. Doesn't matter what they are. I mean, you can get those little teeny weeny ones that they have at the dollar store, the mini white envelopes. You can color code them. And we're going to get into all those practices because I do a lot of those practices once I get back home. But to stay on track. So this envelope is what holds all of my 1s and my 5s. So as you can see, I went to the store the other day and I got change back. So this $1 is the only change that I got as far as a 1 or a 5. And so it went into this envelope, right? And then the next thing that I have in here inside this pocket is where I keep all of my cash. Now, the reason why I do this is because I have 2 sets of finances. I have my personal and I have my business. Some of you guys may prefer to keep your cash in an actual wallet where you stick it down in the, in the side, and it allows you to kind of keep track of it that way. However you do it, it does not matter. The purpose is, though, that you're saving money. So you have your money that you can spend. It's tucked down in here in your journal or in your wallet. You have your envelope for saving, and you have your envelope for receipts. Now, a lot of people don't keep receipts. I personally keep them, whether it's personal, whether it's business, because I need to be able to keep track. And this is another tip that we'll talk about in the future. Keep track of what it is that I spend and cross-reference so that when I'm making my budget, I'm not budgeting blindly, saying, oh, well, it should take about $150 for all of my household things like toilet paper and toiletries and things like that for the family. I don't have to guess. I can say, actually, no, it's not 150. It's only 100 because according to my envelopes that I had for the last 3 months, when I went, I saw that I only spent $100 or a little bit less than $100. So it allows you to kind of know for sure and pinpoint how much it was. So now, for example, when you leave the store, you leave, right? You come home, you have your envelope. This, ladies and maybe gentlemen, is the place where I keep all of my money, right? And I call this the abundance wallet. In this wallet is all of the ones and the fives that I have saved. Now I'm going to show you this so that you can see I practice what I preach. In here is the fives and all of the ones of what I have saved. This envelope gets emptied right here into the abundance wallet. You can name whatever it is that you want. Manifestation wallet, whatever it is that you want that allows you to see the money pile up, right? And that serves as a mental check-in because words have power. So whatever you want to call your wallet that puts that energy of manifesting what it is that you want and achieving some goals, you put that down into this envelope and you leave this envelope in the house. Now, I have a safe. I take this at the end of the week. I come and I put all my money into this manifestation wallet, abundance wallet, whatever you want to call it. Put it into the safe. Bam. And now in my wallet, the only thing that I have is what it is that I can spend. The amount of money that you see there is saved over the course of 2 weeks. That is the money that I have saved over the course of 2 weeks. I come home, I empty the change that I have from 20s and whatever it is into that wallet, and I watch my money stay. Now, I did this for, how long did I do that? About a year? I did that, I think, for 9 months. I did that for 9 months. And at the 9th month, was not last year, it was 2 or 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I've been doing this for a couple of years. At the last month of the 9-month period, I was able to take my daughter to not only take her to Disney World, but to pay for all of our expenses at Disney through there. It was like a trip that my mom and my family wanted to have. We were going to a birthday party down there, and so it allowed me to pay for everything that I needed without having to budget extra from what it was that I had just out of my savings. So that's what I mean by making a goal. Maybe your goal is to start your business. Maybe your goal is you already have a business, but you want to get a website made. Maybe your goal is I want to be able to buy my children at the beginning of every season a wardrobe and not have to stress about it when the time comes. Whatever it is that your goal is, that money going into your manifestation wallet, your abundance wallet, whatever you want to call it, is going to allow you to achieve that, because you're going to be outdone by the amount of money that piles up in that envelope over the course of time. Now, I also want to say to you, initially when you start this, you're going to realize that you go from $150 in your wallet to maybe only $40 in your wallet. And you're like, damn, I don't have that much money to last to the end of the week. Maybe I need to go and I need to withdraw some more money. Don't do it. Stay on your budget. Allow yourself to become disciplined where you see the money that's in your wallet and you live off of that, regardless of what it is that you're stacking at home, regardless of what it is that you're piling up in your abundance wallet. Allow yourself to stay very, very focused on what it is that you are trying to achieve, and stay focused on your budgeting, right? And not allowing yourself to get off of that. So the last but not least tip that I have is, and this is a good one, and this is one that people don't really practice anymore. because they think that it's something that's so like, oh, why do I need that? And that our ancestors did all this. I know, for example, my grandmother that transitioned, peace and blessings be upon her soul. When she transitioned, I will never forget, and I'm forever grateful to her for teaching me this. And this sixth tip is to forget telling your cashier to keep the change. And y'all probably like, I ain't trying to walk around with 15 pounds of change in my wallet or this and that. Girl and boy, if you hear, let me tell you, I save. Now, right now, this is full of water, so it's not a good example, but I save these, right? I go to, once again, buy in bulk. First of all, we'll get into that another time, but I was getting ready to talk about the idea of buying a whole bunch of water bottles, the 35 pack versus this. Yeah, I'll make that a separate video because there's so much that happens to the planet, in the landfills and things like that when we buy those 35 packs. But anyway, so even though they claim that they recycling all of it, they're not. So buy these, right? Say that you buy these of your water instead of the 35 packs. These allow you to take this and make this your change bank. You come home. You put all your change that you got from out of your wallet into here. So you never have to worry about lugging the change around. But once again, Granny taught me. She did this, right? And I watched my grandmother. And then when I was younger, my mom took my brother and I it was a family trip, but she took blah, blah, blah. They took us to Disney World when I was younger. And I can distinctly remember my grandmother saving her change up and something like this. And she actually got down to the specifics of only putting quarters in one and then only putting silver. It was more like only putting silver coins in one and then all the pennies in another one. When she went to cash this thing out, this thing had $550. Nobody thinks of pennies, right? A lot of people don't think of nickels anymore. People are forgetting to think about dimes. And in a climate where they're talking about such a coin shortage and all this stuff, they got a whole bunch of stuff that they're doing to us right now. But in the middle of this coin shortage, right, that we're supposedly going under and coins aren't available and this and that, save your coins, ladies and gentlemen. Save your coins. Stop telling the cashier to keep the change. Bring your coins home. Save them in a jar, in a bucket, in a bin, in an old water container. Save your coins. Because when you need it, when you have something that's going on in your life, you can go to your trusty, dusty coin bucket, go to the coin star, or get your children to sit with you one day on a Saturday morning. Get those rolls that we used to get from the bank. I can distinctly remember helping my grandmother do those rolls and helping my mother do those rolls. Go get those rolls, right, from the bank. Tuck your coins down in those rolls. Take them to the bank. Cash them in. When you cash those rolls in, y'all are going to be amazed at how much money you have saved. I did this. I saved for a year. There was a hard time that I went through a couple of years ago. I went to the bank and I cashed it. Those coins that I had saved over the course of a year, I had enough money to pay all of my bills for 2 entire months. That includes the mortgage, the water, the phone bill, the car payment, the insurance, the freaking gas that whatever it was that me and my family needed, the groceries, for 2 months off of the coins that I had collected in this bin for just 1 year. So I hope that these tips and tricks have been helpful for you. This is a long behind video. I only plan for it to be 15 minutes, but I'm hoping that it helped you. I'm hoping that you guys got some value out of it. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you aren't currently subscribed to the red tent, subscribe. It's going to be a whole lot of videos. It's a lot that we're dropping in here. It's a lot that we're doing. I'm excited. I'm hyped, and I'm happy to be back with you guys. Love you, ladies. Peace.